That's okay. Just checking out my friend, my next guest's Hibernian credentials. They're all intact, I have to say. He's UK's best-selling children's and young adult non-fiction author since records began. He's now written a crime novel. It's called Actually, I'm a Murderer. Welcome, Terry Deary. What a pleasure. Welcome aboard.
Thank you very much, and hello to all my readers out there.
Yeah, and of which there are so many. And if anyone wants to get in touch and ask a question for Terry, please do +44 333 00 333 00. Your people, as we say at home, your people came from Donegal, and you still have people in you say Galway and Clare. Is that
It's in Clare.
So you're a proper West of Ireland man. That's
West
good
of
stuff.
Ireland, that's us, yeah.
And where are you living these days?
I'm living in County Durham in the northeast of England, which is a bit of a travel, a bit of a walk back to Ireland.
It's a bit of a walk back to Ireland. You got the train to London, did you?
I did, yeah.
And how was it when you got off the train? Did you feel
It
London?
just hit me like a wall of heat.
It's like a punch, isn't it?
Isn't it? Wow.
Yeah.
So take me back to Ireland, please.
However, the beautiful thing about the train is that you get to read, and not only that, but your brilliant book. Congratulations on Actually I'm Not a Murderer. It gets you. It got me from the get go because I love a train and I love a mystery and I love a thriller. And here we are on the train with four strangers asking that question that anyone on the train wants to know is, so what do you do? It's great.
Yeah.
Great start. And this came from a true story, is that
It
right?
came from a true story.
Tell us everything.
It happened 50 years ago.
Go
I
on.
was working in Wales, a town called Brecon, took the car down to Cardiff to get the train to London for a night out. But after a night out, you've got to travel overnight. And it was a quiet, stopping train.
Yeah.
And there were four of us in the carriage.
Go on.
And because I was an actor and young and vain, I sort of, for some reason, said, well, actually, I'm an actor.
Yeah.
You know, you wouldn't believe this, but I'm an actor.
Yeah.
And I got back and later years became a writer and remembered that train journey about 3 years later.
Yeah.
What if one of the characters had said, actually, I'm a murderer? And I turned that into a short story which was never published.
Yeah.
And then I got sidetracked into children's books for sort of 40 odd years.
What a sidetrack to the horrible histories. We'll come back to that and other stories. We'll come back to that. But before the sidetrack, you wrote that short story.
That short story.
Did you call it Actually I'm a Murderer?
I called it Actually I'm a
Did
Murderer.
you? I love that. So you had the kernel of a novel there, really.
Yeah, and then somebody typed it up for me and said, I don't like the ending. What? You're just a typist, how dare you? and they were right, because it ended with the character who tells it, the actor,
Yes.
waiting for the murderer to come and kill him after a pause of quite a few years.
Yeah.
And I turned that into 50 years, blew the dust off the short story and extended it.
Well, that's it. It leaps between 1973 and the present day, essentially. And obviously, you mentioned you were an actor, so what the arguably central character is an actor, kind of cynically taking part in pantomimes and lower rent, as he would say.
Yeah, I think he's a bit of a failed actor.
He's a bit of a failure and a bit of a snob with it.
Do you think so? I deny that actor is me.
Oh,
you understand?
This book is a work of fiction, Terry.
A work of fiction,
Let's
of course it
establish
is.
the truth here.
Yeah.
So tell us what happened then because with the short story, and you set it aside. Did you think someday that will come back again? Did you have great confidence in that piece of work, or did you think, no one's going to read that thing?
No, I put it away and forgot about it.
Yeah.
But then I read a poem by Tennyson, which Ulysses coming back from Troy, maybe we can do one great thing before we die. And I thought, what do I want to do? You know, and I only ever read murder mysteries. I thought, I'm going to write a murder mystery. And so I blew the dust off Actually I'm a Murderer and turned it into a full-length novel.
Oh, what a great origin story in some ways, because it comes back to the present day. Tell me about reading that Tennyson poem. Where did you pick it up, or what?
I picked it up from...
What encouraged you to read it?
Rumpole of the Bailey, who used to like to quote all sorts of... He quoted Tennyson. Yeah. We are not that strength which in old days moved earth and heaven. That which we are, we are. One strength made weak by time, but strong in will, to strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield. And I thought, that's me.
Love that.
Yeah, I love it.
Rumpole of the Bailey was a TV show and a book series as well. So you were reading or watching that, and you thought, that's me.
No, I just picked it up on a sort of one of these old repeat channels.
Yeah.
Talking Pictures or something.
And he was a barrister.
He was a barrister.
Yeah.
Leo McKern. What a powerful portrayal he gave.
So the books, the crime books, we share that love of crime writing and reading. Who do you love to pick up and say, that's me? The next one's out. I can't wait. Who are your favourites?
Oh, the Mick Herron.
Oh yeah, great. Slow Horses, yeah.
Yeah, I'm totally disillusioned by him because I'm from Sunderland. Right?
Yeah, which features as a main character in your book.
He's from Newcastle.
Yeah, yeah.
And in this last Slow Horses book, he had civil servants, and if they failed, they would be sent to civil service hell, which is Sunderland. How dare he?
Oh, dare. That's an interesting one. You and Mick Harrow would be very interesting pairing at a book festival.
Well, I've been invited to interview him on stage.
Somebody spotted that.
And I said I wouldn't be able to restrain myself from...
Nor should you. That adds to the... So, Mick Harrow, who else do you like to read?
Anthony Horowitz.
Oh, I love Anthony Horowitz.
Yeah. What he does is he doesn't look at just characters and plot, but the structure of a book.
Yeah.
A story within a story with parallels. And I'm just so jealous of his talent.
Well, you don't have to be. I said to Connor, our producer, when I started reading this book on Monday, I said, do you know who this reminds me of? And he said, go on. He said, one of my all-time favourites. This reminds me of an Anthony Horowitz book.
Oh, I've never had such praise.
I really mean that. I'm not promoting it. It's a true story.
Yeah.
Like, it had that lovely pace and lovely sense of observation and storytelling. So congratulations on that. We're going to take a little piece of music, but can we talk more after that? Okay, Terry Deary, our guest at the top of the tower today. At the top of the tower, having a great conversation with Terry Deary. We're talking about his new book, Actually, I'm a Murderer. There's a follow-up already. Is it written or?
It's written. It's in edit, yeah.
Oh, you're there that soon. That's amazing. Congratulations.
Well, yeah, because I've got lots of other writing to do. So.
I know you do. You're very prolific. So tell me, can you say the name of the new one, or is that?
I can tell you. Yes, at the moment it's provisionally titled "Actually, I'm a Corpse."
Oh, that's a wonderful title. The Actually I'm a is a great motif. So, Actually I'm a Murderer. We were talking about Anthony Horowitz earlier on. I was saying this is in the same gene pool of that, which is terrific because I'm a big fan of his too, as I was as your book. But you're so busy. I was telling you about Des Eacon's book, The Brutish Empire, and we were laughing about kind of word play in book titles. So you're current number one in the Sunday Times.
I was number one. I'm still in the top 10
of course
6 weeks. Yeah.
And what's that book is called?
A History of Britain in 10 Enemies.
Okay. Now, Ireland features in that book.
Ireland is an enemy.
But Terry, we are all friends now. Can we just establish that?
We can indeed.
That's good enough. We'll have to have a more peaceful book, 10 Reasons to be Good Friends. But there was another title for that book, which was...
I called it Cruel Britannia.
Cruel Britannia is great. And the publisher said, I think we'll just go for something a little safer.
But it leaves me with the title Cruel Britannia. I can write another book about Cruel Britannia.
If you want to.
Yeah,
if you want to.
Yeah.
And did you see you had another one that you're working on as well?
Yes, it comes out in September. It's called Revolting, about riots, revolutions and rebellions.
Oh, that's a great title. Tell me the Irish feature in that too.
The Irish feature exceptionally.
Prominently.
One of the most revolting people in history.
And proud of it.
And proud of it. That's a sad thing, isn't
That's the thing. That's the deal. So you write so much, and the history, if we talk about the horrible histories where you... Was there a trigger point for that where you went, I've cracked this. Kids love good stories. They want stories being told. History can be murdered by a bad teacher and it can be brought to life by a wonderful teacher. Where did that come from?
It came from me being a children's author of 50 children's novels and being commissioned to write a Father Christmas joke book.
Go on.
Yeah, no. You know, what was Tarzan's favourite Christmas song? A Jungle Bells,
Jungle Bells, Jungle. This is like a dad joke treasure trove.
It was. It sold so well. I said, next year, can you write a history joke book? Where did the French buy the guillotines? In the shopping centre. And they said, these jokes are so bad. Can you put some interesting facts from history in? And because I was a children's author, I took these facts from the dry children's books and rewrote them in an entertaining, accessible way.
Wow.
And instead of a joke book with facts, we ended up with a history book with jokes.
Well, congratulations, because you've helped to bring one of my favourite subject alive so beautifully. Of all the horrible histories, what's the one closest to your heart?
It's the one that doesn't sell that many. It's called Wicked Words. It's a history of the English language, told in a most fascinating and varied way.
I'm going to get that this weekend.
Okay.
That sounds like my bag. And then in terms of the time periods, the Tudors, the Romans, the Greeks.
Yeah. You see, people come up to me and think I'm a historian. They say, what is your favourite period in history?
Yeah.
And to be honest, they were all dirty and disgusting.
They were disgusting. I don't want to know your favourite period in history, but I'd love to know which one of the books that you go, I love that. You mentioned the words one, but of the periods of history, which one do you go, I get a great kick out of looking at that one?
Possibly the Tudors, because I'm able to slag off these awful people who call themselves monarchs.
Yeah, okay. I see what you can, and you can smell them, smell the books sometimes with the lack of hygiene.
Well, you can. I think you've got a problem, mate.
Well, it's your fault. You wrote them.
I wrote them, but smelling a book is
it's a
little bit odd.
It's an achievement on your part. I'll tell you that much. Terry, the book is called "Actually, I'm a Murderer." I can see a television show / movie in that. I'm sure that's coming down the tracks, literally.
No, television companies aren't very keen on historical novels. And this is over 50 years old. And they say, history, crime doesn't sell. So
are you serious?
I'm serious.
I think that's somebody somewhere's missing a trick. It'll happen.
Well, if they were listening to your programme, as of course everybody does,
good man.
It's open to offers.
Terry Deary, good on you, and thank you for being here today. Come back to see us when Actually I'm a Corpse is published, please.
Yep.
And we'll have another conversation, and I look forward to it immensely.
That's fabulous. Thank you very much.
Thanks for your
Ryan.
time today. Really nice to see you.